afternoon, everyone. Okay, so before I start anything, I would like to do a sound check with everyone. Okay, if you can hear me loud and clear, please can you give me a thumbs up or let me know you can hear me. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, welcome to today's talk. We have invited a speaker from Workswithin, okay, to talk with us about finding meanings in your work. So before we start, I would like to do a sound check. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Okay. Good afternoon for those who just came in. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, can you please put down in the comment, let me know that you can hear me. Do we have comments? Let me check. Good afternoon, everyone. Sound check. Sound check. Let me know if you can hear me. Yes, maybe too soft, too loud. No one wants to tell me. Hello. Hello. If you can hear me, can you give me a response? Yes or no? Can you hear me? Ooh. Last. Right. We do have people hear this. Thank you very much for responding. Okay. So before we start, a few gentle reminders for you. If you find the video suddenly disappear, okay, don't worry about it. It's most probably the internet breakdown. Okay. Don't go off. Okay, we'll be back in few seconds, few minutes. Okay. And if you find your videos is lagging, please refresh your page, or you can choose to use the alternative platform. Okay, we have a platform on Facebook, Psyche College Kuala Lumpur Facebook, and another one is Psyche College Kuala Lumpur YouTube. Alright, there's two platforms. You can choose whichever that is more convenient for you. And the last reminder is that we actually encourage everyone to interact with us. Okay, so do put down your comments or put down your questions in the chat box. Okay, we will try to get back to you, try our best to get back to you to your questions. Right? So this talk will be more interesting with your interaction. Alright. Without further ado, let me introduce a little bit about our speaker today. Okay, she is Hsia from Workswithin. Okay, she is currently working in HR in Magic co-working space, okay, in Cyberjaya. What she does is that she runs workshops, she runs training with employees, and then she also does some individual counseling, okay, at free time. So without delay too much, let me put her in. Hsia, are you ready?
Hello,
Hsia. Right.
Hi.
So this is Hsia from Workswithin. Do you want to introduce a little bit of yourself?
Yeah, I'm Hsia. I'm a licensed and registered counselor.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, Hsia. So, can you guys comment if you can hear Hsia as well, loud and clear? Okay, let us know if you can hear our speaker, Hsia. Hsia, do you want to try to do a few tests?
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Right. Okay. So I will leave the floor to you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Pearl. Okay. So before we begin, I believe that most of us have actually asked ourselves the following question: what should I become after I grow up, and what should I do with my life? So likely most likely right after you graduate, you are most likely going to land a job get a sum of money every month, probably get married and have kids, and by the age you're roughly 50s and you're gonna ask, is that all this is to life? And is there anything more than waking up every morning, churning the 9 to 6, just so you are able to pay your bills by the end of the month? Actually, this was the question that one of my friend actually asked. That friend of mine was actually working in Dubai, and he was roughly earning 80K per month lah, after the conversion rate and everything like that. That was excluding bonuses. So, and one day he actually woke up and he asked himself, what is the meaning of all of this? What is the meaning to all the car that he has, the house that he owns? So he actually gave up everything and came to Malaysia to start his own business. So we all like to ask, like, what does it mean when people say to find meaning in their job and in their life? What does it takes to find meaning? And why is it so important? So I would like to ask all of you, if any of you have ever received a gift that you really, really wanted in life. I remember mine was a little yellow balloon. I was out with my parents during Christmas Eve, and then we passed by this store and we saw this yellow balloon they were selling by the roadside. And I saw it, and because I was a really small kid and I really wanted the balloon. So I asked my parents to get it for me. So they got the balloon for me. And because of that, I was so happy, and I played with the balloon for a few days. But the balloon would eventually deflated, and happiness like that eventually deflated. And as I grow up, I will buy new phones, new clothes, but I will notice that no matter how many things I buy, I would be really happy to own them at first. But after a while, then it's like the balloon, happiness eventually would go away. So I also remember that last year I actually signed up for Viper Challenge. And that time, because me and a group of friends decided to take on the Viper Challenge. So I actually, because I was not very good in sports at that time, so I challenged myself to go to the gym every day because I wanted to do the challenge at the end of the year. So during that time, even though I was very tired and I was not really motivated to go to the gym, but every time that I think about doing the challenge at the end of the year, I was able to motivate myself to keep going. So that is actually what meaning is. Meaning is something that provides purpose to us to keep us going. So like Viktor Frankl, the author of Man's Search for Meaning and the creator of logotherapy, says that a lot of our emotional problems arises from the lack of meaning. And only by finding meaning, we can make our life worth living. So you ask, if meaning is so important, what can we do to find it? Because I actually know that a lot of people try very hard to find meaning, but it seems that they can't. Everything that they do, they seem to find it meaningless, and they find very boring. Like their daily life is just the day-to-day 9 to 6. So what we are going to touch on today is our approach towards finding meaning, and what are some of the blockages, and what are some of the blockages and some tips and tricks towards it. So I would like to know if any of you heard of this app called Roundanica before. So this app actually got a bit of hype recently on TikTok because it was linked to actually a murder case. Some teen was actually playing with it, and then they got lead to a beach, and then they found a bag filled with body parts inside. So actually, what essentially is this app is, it's a adventure app. And what it does is that it will generate some random location around the users where the user can follow it to find some location they never explored before lah. So what made it so special is that before the location is generated, the app would ask you to think about an intent that you wanted to encounter during this trip. And since and actually a lot of people when using this app, they say that wow, this app is so special. Why? Because the location this app lead them to was actually matches their intent. So for example, as you can see in this the picture I posted, on the left, the person wanted to find something pink. The pink color was his intent, and on the left, the person was thinking about to find something to sit on, and he actually found a chair on his way. But actually, if you look another, so this actually make the what hype up the app lah, because like wow, everyone was saying like wow, so special. But actually, if you take a closer look at all these pictures, they are actually very commonplace that you will bump into. So the picture on the left is a pink car, and a picture on the right is actually an unwanted sofa. These are actually things that you would not pay any attention to when you pass by them on your day-to-day basis. But however, when combined to the intent you set in the beginning, all this bumping into all these items suddenly became very meaningful. So what this means is, meaning is not something that we can actively seek out for, but it has to manifest itself as a consequence as we move towards a selected intent or objective. So I would like to know, are there any questions from everyone until this part? Okay. So as Martin Seligman, a famous psychologist, suggested that in order to find meaning, we must put ourselves into service that is greater than ourselves. I'll give you an example of this. So I actually know a person who works with children. So this person is quite a talented person. He is very passionate about his job, and he has his own way in terms of dealing with children. And a lot of parents actually went back to him saying that, oh, what you did to my child was very good, and then his behavior actually improved and such. If any of you have ever worked with children before, I believe that you will know that children are very difficult to deal with. And what my friend did was that he was actually dealing with children who were considered like the bad apple at the school, and that everyone in school actually disliked the children, and his aim is to re-educate them, modify their behavior. So one day I was talking to him and was asking that, oh, what actually was keeping him motivated? Why is he doing what he wanted to do? So he actually told me that his aim was not with the children, but for his son. He was saying that he wanted to build a future for his son that is happy and safe. And he believed that all these children that no one wanted and no one paid attention to would have caused trouble in the future if nobody were to deal with them. So that was his aim and his mission. And also, the CEO of Entertainment Media Partners, Adam, mentioned 5 questions that you can actually ask yourself in terms of finding your purpose. So the first one is ask who you are and what do you do, and who actually do you do it for, and what does the other person need or want, and what changed as a result. Note that 2 out of these 5 questions are directed to yourself, and 3 out of it are actually outward facing questions, meaning that you have to, in order to find meaning in your job, you must work for something that is far greater than ourselves. So meaning is a lifelong purpose plus short-term goal. To find meaning, you have to identify the purpose you serve and also the short-term goals that goes along with it. So you might ask, why short-term goals lah? So I would like to tell you the story about this lady called Florence. She is actually famous for long-distance swimming. She was the first woman who swam the English Channel both direction, which is from England to French and French back to England. And in the year 1952, she attempted a 26-mile swim between the California coastline and Catalina Island, which is, when you convert it into km, it would be roughly 41 km. So she was swimming for hours and hours, and there were a lot of sharks around her, and then the water was cold. And after 15 hours of swim, suddenly a very thick fog set in. She couldn't see the coastline. And then because she was doing long distance swimming and nobody would allow her to swim alone, there were actually boats that follow her around. And she actually told her mom, who was sitting in one of the boats, and said that she don't think that she could make it to land. And eventually, after 1 hour of swimming, she gave up and bought on one of the boats. But what she found out right after was that she was actually 1 mile away from land. And she told the reporter right after that, she said that if she could have seen land, she would have made it. So the moral of this story is that if we cannot see where we are going, it's most likely that we are going to give up. So this is why having visible short-term goals are so important. And how does all this information actually apply to you? So one of it is to understand what purpose that you want to serve, and what are the goals that you want to come along with it, and place yourself in an environment that facilitate that direction. So an example I would give would be, if let's say you want to join a company, you might want to understand, what's the vision and the mission of that company? What direction are they heading? What is the company's culture? So understanding all this would give you a better idea of where the company is heading, and does it align with your goal and purpose at that time. If you join a company that's aligned with your purpose, most likely you will be more motivated to move forward. And also, because both a company goal and your goal is aligned, then most likely the company would also help you in terms of achieving your goals. So another tip that I would like to give most of you, because I believe that most of you who are watching are students, is that you need to start to apply the things that you have learned in school into real life. One of the reasons for this is that the information that you learn is not yours until you learn to apply them in real life. And this is actually one of the complaints I heard a lot from the companies. That is, the skill they learn from school doesn't match up with the cert they claim they have. But that's the story for another day. And also another reason for that is, by knowing what you're doing, it actually gives you more understanding in terms of how you are playing into the bigger picture. And so what that means is a clearer purpose in terms of your role. Okay, if setting goals and purposes are what we need to find meaning, then everyone should be able to live meaningful life. So why are there still people who feel lost and a lack of directions? Actually, there's a few reasons to it. The first reason is some people, they actually know what they want, but they are very afraid to aim at it. A common pattern that you see in all this kind of people is that they would likely say that, cannot, these things doesn't work. A reason for that is because they are very afraid of failure. And what happens is, when you set goals, it's that you also set out the criteria of failure. So that actually stresses them out. So what they do is they avoid setting goals lah. So they are also free from the responsibility of having to achieve the goals and the responsibility of being failure. So I have a friend who actually works in a design industry and recently she changed her job. So actually her new job and her old job doesn't have a lot of difference. However, in her new job, she felt a lot stressor and less meaningful in the position she is right now, even though there was a significant raise in her salary. So we were talking about why is that so lah? What's making her feel so dreaded for work? So during the conversation, we found out that the major change between the old and new job was that the amount of responsibility she had to carry. So in her previous job, she was actually provided, because she was doing design, she was provided templates for most of her designs. And while in this current job, she has to bear the responsibility for doing the new designs. But consider this, how come there are a lot of people out there who don't feel stressed out for creating new stuff? They are actually very delighted and proud of it. So the main difference actually lies in whether or not they allow themselves to carry the responsibility and ownership of their work. So for example, let's say if you go to a restaurant and you order a dish and the dish came and then you taste, wow, the dish tastes very good lah. Who do you allocate the praise to? The waiter or the cook? Most likely the cook lah, because he is the one that is responsible for making the dish lah. You will say, you will allocate praise for service to the waiter because he is the one who's responsible for giving you the good service. So our brain allocate praise to ourselves that way as well. Your brain will only praise you if your brain knows that you deserve what you are getting. So most likely if you get an A on your paper that you know that you cheated for, you're most likely not going to feel proud of it. You might feel proud that you are able to successfully cheat your lecturer, but however, you will not feel proud for that A because that to you would be meaningless. That to your brain would be meaningless. So in a sense that when there is no ownership and no responsibility, there would be no meaning in terms of your work. I think we would experience this firsthand when we call a customer service line. When you call a customer service, let's say your internet line is very slow. When you call them, they most likely go and give you a standardized answer. They probably could not solve the problem for you because the person who need to solve the problem is their technician. They will only ask you like, they are placed there to soothe your emotion and to like a barrier between you and the technician guy. So what this means is that while working in a call center is actually very meaningless. A friend of mine used to work in a call center actually told me that they got scolded by their customers all day, every day, and they can't do anything about it. That actually reflected in their turnover rate, which is like roughly a 30 to 45%, which means a very high turnover rate lah. So as a conclusion, that when there is no ownership or responsibility, there is no meaning in your work. And also understand that what is the story that you tell yourself. Are you telling yourself negative things or are you telling yourself positive things? Let's say you have a goal and you wanted to aim for something. Do you tell yourself, yes, I can get towards that goal? Or do you tell yourself, no, this goal is too difficult and I can't make it, I'm too stupid, or I'm a failure? So what you need to do is actually you need to listen to yourself. And then listen to what you are saying. Is it a negative thing or a positive thing? And then if it's negative, you have to challenge yourself. You ask yourself, is this thought really true? What would a friend tell me? And is there anything that I can change about it? And the last thing you will need to do is to challenge the thought. So that would involve identifying positive things about yourself and things that you can actually do to help you achieve what you want. So the second problem in terms of why people can't find set meaningful goals is that they do not know what they value. So what are values? Values are actually things that governs our decision. They are actually personal belief and philosophy. It can be either ethical, moral, ideological, or social. An example of an ethic would be an example of value would be value happiness, value justice, goodwill, kindness. So what would knowing your values actually help you do? Knowing your values will help you understand where you would like to spend your resources, your time, money, and also energy. So for example, I would like you to imagine values as in terms of the direction that you want to go, and the goals are destination that you want to land on. So goals might change, but value are more often consistent. So for an example would be like a goal would be, let's say, Penang, and the value would be the journey you travel along, that you want to travel up north. And today you might say that, oh yeah, I chose the wrong major. I value helping people, but then my major is in IT. There's no social interaction in IT. But well, actually, when Steve Jobs was designing computers, his aim and mission was actually to make a tool for the his goal was to make a tool that would advance humankind. So meaning that do not let what you are today define your tomorrow. There's always ways that you can work towards your value. And you will ask like, oh, what are some of the ways that you can know what you value? Well, first of all, there are a lot of tests in the market. But secondly, you can try to talk to one of your school counselors. And lastly, another way is that you can identify incidents in your life that make you happy or make you suffer. And then identify what about these incidents that make you happy. And then group them into similar group and highlight the theme of the group. And the theme of the group are most likely the things that you value the most. Okay, so another thing to pay attention to is to identify what criteria you place as a criteria of success. So are those things controllable or uncontrollable? So a lot of research has actually shows that the more control you have for a situation, the less likely that you will suffer from burnout. So for example, they mention nurses and their work and the level of stress they are experiencing. They found that nurses who perceive they have more control in their job are more happy. So how does this translate to? So do you place the success of your work in terms of the happiness of your patient, or do you focus on the things that you have control over, such as the quality of your service, how you treat the patients, etc. So before I end, I would like to end with this quote from Carl Jung, who says that the the list of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greater things without it. So to sum it up, why meaning is so important? Meaning is important because it provides resilience in terms of what we do things. It provides purpose from us, and it serves as an anchor for where we want to go. Also, there are a lot of research that shows that people with meaning who holds meaning in their work are more likely to perform better, and students who know where they want to go are most likely to have better grades in their studies lah. So I think this is the Q&A session. Is there any questions that anyone like to ask? Okay, there's a council.
Hello, I'm back.
Hello, Pearl.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So, audience, if you have questions, please leave it in the chat session. So, Lisa and I will go through it with you.
So I see
Okay.
that there's a question from Kok Kyung. Said, how the company think if I decided to join an MBA course, work study program, any help to my job development? How much an expected salary earn if I continue study MBA courses? Okay, so I would like to share that how usually company would measure what kind of salary they actually provide to you lah. It's, let's say you are imagine that you are a company boss lah. If there are two candidates that come to you, one say that okay, my expected salary is 3,000. Another person say that my expected salary is 5,000. How do you know which candidate to hire? So to know which candidate to hire is actually they measure it by what's the value of the candidate, how much value the candidate can provide. Let's say the 3K candidate can actually provide a value of, meaning they can run the sales, they can earn 5K every month. And compared to the person who asked for a 5K salary, they can earn sales of 20K per month. So most likely as a boss, I would want to hire the person who can do the sales for 20K lah. In terms, I would probably give them more money so that they can run more sales for me. So don't ask that, okay, what's my qualification in terms of, I have this qualification, that qualification, but think that, okay, what sort of value I can help this company achieve. So when you go to interview, this is what you want to tell the person. These are the things that I can do for your company. So if you are able to pay me so much and so much, I can generate so much and so much income for you. So that's the way we should think about getting targeting interview and getting jobs. Okay, yeah, so is it more important to know where we want to go, or is it more important to know how we want to go there? Okay, this question is like asking, do we want to know where we want? If let's say you're on vacation, do you ask, I want to go to Penang first, or do you ask how I want to go to Penang first? Most likely you're going to ask where I want to go first, because if let's say you don't have a direction, you would probably drive down to Johor, and then lucky the earth is round, like if enough petrol, you eventually land back in Penang. So it's more important to know where you want to go. It might not be the specific direction. You might not say that, oh, I want to go to Penang, but you have to at least say that, oh, today I want to travel north towards that direction. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, both of you, do you mind to drop us a reply? Let us know if we answered your question, or yeah, we still have more time. If you have more questions that you can drop in. Okay. Now, while we are waiting for them, I have a question for you.
Okay, cool.
So guess I get a lot of this question. If you go back to your slides that with the 5 question, okay, 5 question you've mentioned by the person in the TED talk. To find meaning, there's 2 questions. There's 2 questions that directed to the self, and then 3 questions that is directed outwards. It's not about yourself. Okay, so I get this question a lot. If we are people would ask why should I take care of other people's expectations? Why should I take care of others people view? Why should I have to accommodate them? Isn't it finding meaning? It's all about myself. Yeah. How would you
Yes.
respond to this?
Okay. Yes, finding meaning is about yourself. It's your meaning. But how where you want to get that meaning, it's also your choice. The idea is that because we are actually social animals, we cannot find meaning when we are by ourselves connected to so many things around us. So the other people will actually influence us, and we would also actually influence other people. And for some reason, maybe because of that, um, we find greater meaning when we anchor ourselves towards things that are sort of external. So, for example, a mother would more likely be more motivated to go to work. Let's say she knows that she wanted to provide for her children. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, sort of. Okay. Thank you so much. I think it answers. So it means that because we are we are social animals and we cannot live without each other. No man is one island. That's why when we are looking for meaning, although there are some parts that it's for ourselves, we need to also include some part of it to the external stuff, like other people, other circumstances.
Because you need to serve things that are far greater than you.
Okay, the things that is far greater than us, should it be only humans? Is it only people, or is there any other things that you are looking for?
It can be for other things. There are a lot of people for example, people who let's say run marathon.
Mm-hmm.
They don't run it for, let's say, other people, but they will run it for in terms I want to prove that humanity is more than this.
Mm-hmm.
That human can do more than the normal running. They can do long distance runs. They want to prove humanity, sort of. So that is sort of what gave meaning to them also. So
Okay.
it might not always be human.
Okay, so it could be a value.
Yeah, it can be a value.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's see, do we have more questions?
Kok Kyung said that he is not in a sales job.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so what does it mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I might be a bit confused. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm back to Kok Kyung's questions. What I'm saying that it's not always in terms of sales. There are other ways in terms of how a company would generate income. I don't know what your position is. So for example, let's say in HR, we always calculate like how much how the value of our position, because HR you can't really contribute in terms of direct sales, but we would measure like the quality, let's say the quality of candidate we are able to hire. So that is how we would know what's the value of the position. So it depends on your position. Maybe if like you want to have a chat, then we would know like how to calculate what's the value that you are actually giving to the company.
Right.
Okay.
So we have
So
more
any
questions.
more questions?
Yeah, we have one more.
Okay, so there's Agnes Lai is asking, most of the time people is judging and evaluating us. How can we reduce the stress from others that disturb our goal? Okay, this is a very tough question. I'm not sure what goal you're holding, but sometimes we need to decide, like let's say if our goal is what does the other people around us want for us? So, and also that is to evaluate like what sort of what sort of environment that you place yourself into. Unfortunately, there are some people in life that want us to fail in our goals. That there are actually people like that. But let's say if you're saying the judging and evaluating, how can we measure? In terms of how to release it, one way that what I would do is I will write it down and then ask myself if whether or not what the person say is true lah. But let's say there are too many negative things in your environment, you might want to re-evaluate your goals and also your environment that you're putting yourself into.
You have one more question?
Chris is asking, what should we advise to someone who thinks they are more valuable than the actual value and they are aiming too far that it's putting other people in trouble? I think I might need a little more context for that. No? But let's say if yours, well, first thing, I don't believe that people would think that they are far too valuable because we often a lot of times that we don't know what the true value of the person is. But let's say if that person is holding a job and then they are giving far higher claims that they are claiming way far than what they know lah. What we can do is let reality speak lor. So this is what you claim and this is the product of your work. And I would also want to question that if they are actually claiming more than they can, why are we still giving them the chance to create those trouble? Let's say there's say okay. Also, it's there's college or lecturers said they are also they want people to write them letter of recognition. So what sort of advice you want to say they are qualified for scholarship, but there's no harm in aiming in terms of trying lah, but I would say A for effort lor. But as a lecturer, you can reject them, right? You can tell them, okay, this is not what I can't write you the letter of recognition because your pointer is just 2.3.
I think we're almost time.
Yeah.
I think we are almost time. So if you do have questions, you can still leave them here. I can forward it to Hsia. Okay, I can email to her and then get back to you if you want. Okay. If that is Hsia, do you want to add in a few more words before you end?
Yeah. So I'll say thank you for Pearl for letting me speak on this podcast. Lastly, I would like everyone to, if possible, come and like our Facebook page. So it's called Workswithin. We have a Facebook page and also an Instagram page. So we post things like tips and tricks on mental health issues and also like how to deal with anxiety and stuff like that. And sometimes we also run webinars and workshops lah. So if you could head up to our page and follow us, we'll keep you up to date on those things.
Right. Thank you, Hsia. We would like to thank you for your time, for your effort, okay, for your presentation. Okay, I think it's very useful. The one thing that I can remember the most is about taking the ownership and the responsibility. Only with these two, it creates meaning. Right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Okay, so audience, before you go, I would like to send out some feedback forms. Okay, let me put up the link for you. Okay, this feedback form is for both of us. If you have time, please help us with this feedback form. Okay, let us know what is good and what is bad. Okay, for the good one, we will keep doing it, and for the bad one, we will look for ways to improve it. Okay, do let us know about it. All right. Okay. Right, I have put up the link. Okay, the link for the feedback form in the chat session. Okay, if you have time, can you please help us with it? It's going to help us to improve our future events. All right. So okay. Alright, thank you everyone for coming. Okay, thank you all of you for coming. I think without you all, the talk wouldn't be so interesting. Thank you for your time. So a little bit of advertisement. We have another talk later on at 4:30. Do sign. The information is in the student affairs Facebook and it's also in the Sagi College Kuala Lumpur Facebook. Do look it up. It's called. Let me check the name of the event. Just give me a minute. Okay, the name of the event. Okay, the name of the event is called How to Nail FAQs During Interviews. Okay, how do you answer the frequently asked questions in interview? So do join us if you have time. Okay, if not, we will see you in the next webinar. Alright, thank you very much everyone. Bye bye. Have a good evening. Bye.